Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, and today we got a brand new set of seasonals there, carrying on these seasonals even though GT6 demo is now out, so of course I am going to be covering these. And today we have the Dream Car Championship, and we're going to go into the usual with the tracks, with the settings, just a PP maximum of 710 and maximum of racing hard tyres. The prize for gold across the board is a level 23 class ticket, which is pretty cool. Those are like the rare old like race cars and stuff. Anyway, tracks, we've got a Tokyo Route 246, a Cape Ring full circuit, Circuit de la Sarthe 2009, Nürburgring Nordschleife, and the Eiffel Custom to finish up. And the car I've gone with is the 787B race car. It comes in pretty close in the stock settings. I haven't done any tuning, so this is stock tune, no turbo. As you can see, the engine is at 100%. I've got about 200 miles, so the engine is broken in a little bit, so I just dropped the aero by 1 at the back, and that was good for me to go. And we'll crack on with Route 246. Now this is a fairly straightforward one. Most guys have raced this track quite a bit. The car can be a little bit touchy on the back. Settings wise, they've forced the skid recovery on as usual, which is a bit of a pain, but other than that I've switched ABS to 1 and everything else off. And the car can be a little bit twitchy at the back, so mainly in second gear is where you need to watch out, because you'll get a little bit of understeer in third or fourth on those kind of like long sweeping corners if you put too much throttle in. So if you drop into second, do just be aware that hitting the gas just a bit too vigorously could well lead you to spin the car. And with these cars, if you get into a spin, they're very difficult to control, and it's probably gonna, you know, fully spin you out. A little bit of contact here, as you can see, is not really the biggest problem, as long as you kind of, like you can see there, like very slight nudges against the wall and they just rebound basically. That was a little worse, but yeah, I was kind of bumping and bashing all over the place. Actually clipped the Citroen on my way through there, and then maybe just wall tap there, so a little bit messy at the end. But as per usual, these aren't, you know, tremendously challenging. As long as you're comfortable driving these very fast cars, it's, you know, not going to be a problem. My top speed wasn't quite set up correctly there. This car's only got 5 gears. Anyway, take first on lap 3 out of 5 on that big right hand corner. Went around the outside and just kept the car inside the walls there. And to finish off the race with some kind of rubbish laps. As I said, I was bumping the walls just a little bit too much. And we go into Cape Ring. Now this is a pretty long circuit. This is about 4.5 mile circuit. It's the full lap of Cape Ring, because obviously there's lots of little variations on this track, but we're doing the full thing, so it's 3 laps only because it is a long track. And it's pretty technical, lots of cambered turns. You want to generally try and stick your car right up against the curb. You don't want to bump in across the curb, because that can throw the weight a little bit, but try and stick nice and tight around all of the corners, because this car just grips incredibly well around the tight parts of the corner. Once we get to the big roundabout section, I'll explain a bit further, because it wasn't the greatest bit there, and this guy just cuts me off on the inside, so I was like, you know what, I'm not waiting to kind of barge my way through on the inside. And as you can see, just keeping it nice and tight to the inside of the corners basically, and that way you can have good smooth exits. And again, this one, because it is quite flat on the exits in a lot of places, you can see just getting a little bit loose there. Just again, be careful when you're going down into second and accelerating out the other side. And this is a bit of a dirty overtake, because this was the first time on this track, I hadn't quite judged the understeer that I was going to get there, because it's a very slight off camber, and I picked up understeer, so I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm not waiting. Went onto the runoff on the right and went past some pretty dirty, but whatever, gets the job done. Watch out for here, by the way. You'll find you know, take off basically, so, you know, prepare for lift off at that point in time. And then here, like, I wasn't really testing the water that much. The G-forces as you come across the inside is ridiculous, and I think if you just go full lock right round the inside in fourth, you can actually stay on the inside. You'll hear the wheels squealing, but just full lock right across the inside, and I think you can go like near 100% throttle all the way around, but obviously I hadn't figured that out on the first lap. And I tried it on the last lap and it kind of worked, but I kind of messed it up as well. But it might be possible, so you guys try that. Just go full speed around there, right across the inside at full lock on the wheel, and see how well that works out. Anyway, you can see you get a 2:20. Take first place about halfway round lap 2. So we've got a good lap and a half of leading the race, and we can move on to South. Now this is the 2 laps of South. They're about 4-minute long laps, something like that. So in the interest of time, I did skip the long straights, as to be honest there's nothing really eventful happening. I draft a couple guys and skip through them, so I've just basically used the technical sections of this track to demonstrate, which I'm sure you guys can forgive me for. To keep this video length down, it's already going to be about 11 minutes, so yeah, we didn't want to run on too long here with this one. But basically just keep it nice and tidy. You don't want to be in the grass or in the sand at all. Not to mention the fact that, again, this track does have penalties for cutting the corners. There's no need to push yourself to the very limit of the boundaries of the track, so don't, you know, frustrate yourself by going very close and then getting shortcut penalties. You see here, I actually went slightly off the track. I don't know if you saw, but as I came into that little chicane, apparently I just came off the track and I got like a 2 or 3 second penalty, so it wasn't too bad. But basically my advice would be, if you get one, carry on. It's not the end of the world, but you don't need to feel like you've got to push yourself to those very limits to get it. So, you know, it's more frustrating to get a penalty than just going a bit slower and avoiding the penalty. But yeah, so basically carry on, you know, keeping it tidy. You don't want, if you end up running into sand areas like that, I mean, it may well still be winnable, and yeah, you might be able to catch up with the guy in first, but for the most part, with these, if you do have like 1 or 2 sort of major offs, it can be a little bit of a struggle to regain that time. So more important to stay focused on a clean run as opposed to an all-out sprint to the line each time. And you can see actually this kind of corresponds. I normally show like the whole lap, then the overtake on first and the last lap, but the overtake on first was right at the end of the first lap and at the end of a whole lap, so I figured, what the hell, we'll just leave it there. So that was basically the whole lap there of the South, and I take first at the very start of lap 2. And we move on to Nürburgring. We get 1 lap of this, and it's about a 6-minute one. So again, in the interest of time, I've kind of, I don't know, I just took kind of random highlights, I guess, like more of the technical sections and the more important bits where you need to focus on your braking. The car is pretty easy to handle here. Generally the cambers work in your favour. Again, with like with capering, the car is going to handle best when you're tucked really nicely tight in against the curbs. The other cars on this track are probably going to be what causes you the most problems. I got stuck a couple times behind them, like here, so I went for the inside and then he kind of moves across in front of me, so you want to be really careful. Again, like that, I was going to go down the inside, then he suddenly switches over to the inside, so just bide your time basically with the AI. Just make that pass when it's safe to do so, and you will, as long as you can keep it nice and tidy and not run off too many times, you will find that it's not too hard to make first place. But I get the feeling like with a few offs or a few spins in the grass, and this might become a little bit more tricky. This one I got stuck in between the 2 cars. I was kind of trying to find a way through between them and I just got stuck. So again, you can see just patiently waiting. Eventually he moves over from wiggling left and right and I can squeeze my way through. Going around the carousel here is where I find myself just behind the guy in first place, which is the XJR9, and he's not too slow in a straight line. So again, you want to be looking to take this guy in a corner, and I went for it a little bit and he was just in the middle, and again a little bit too much into that corner. He was going a bit slower, and eventually I take him under braking, coming up the top of the hill there, and we can break away from him. So I kind of skip ahead here. Basically from that point on, you just got to play it safe, hold your ground, and yeah, basically just bring home the victory. Not too tricky, and you can see I get like a 6-minute 2 lap. Didn't have any offs, a couple of bumps here and there, maybe ran into the grass like once, kind of in a minor way, so it was a decent lap-ish, I guess. So looking at about 6 minutes. And we got an Eiffel custom track here for the final. and it's a pretty fun one. Not actually that easy. It's quite interesting. They really work the cambers in this one. You'll find some of them are like on camber, like this one. You can really throttle in and throttle out again with a lot of speed, and then some of them are off camber and the car will understeer like an absolute crazy. I was going to say something a little bit rude, but I'll keep it clean today. I'm feeling clean. You can see, like, you get these little peaks, like it's almost like a little mountain top, and at the top it's an off camber, and you're throwing the car around a tight bend, and you really get a lot of understeer. So it might take, you know, a lap or two to kind of get used to which corners are which and where you can put the gas down. A lot of them are blind corners, so it's quite tricky to take them. Generally speaking, if it is a blind corner, expect to be getting understeer because you're going to be coming over the crest of the hill. Most of the weight is going to be throwing up, so you'll have, you know, a bit less grip at the tyres, and, you know, generally less grip on the road. So again, watch your accelerator, because if you hit that gas too hard and you've just come over the crest of a hill, you'll find your wheels are spinning quite quickly, and you might lose control and spin the car right at the top there. So bit of accelerator control and just patience basically around the off camber turns. A slam right into the back of first base as he goes pretty slowly through there, and that wraps it up for this week's seasonals. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and found it helpful. Be sure to leave some comments, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.